Only the best.
It's bad bitch o'clock, yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you're healing. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings. How you feeling? How you feel right now? Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. Bitch, I might be better. Turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright, okay, alright. It's about damn time. Turn up the music, let's celebrate. I got a feeling I'm gonna be okay, alright. It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Wanna get up, wanna get down. That's how I feel right now. Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. I might be better. Turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright, okay, alright. It's about damn time. Turn up the music, let's celebrate. I got a feeling I'm gonna be okay, alright. It's about damn time. You know what time it is. I'm coming out tonight. 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 Okay. All right. It's about damn time. I'm coming out tonight. 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 Okay. Alright. It's about damn time. Bitch. Yeah. It's about damn time.
Only the best.
I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I get drunk, wake up, I'm wasted still. I realize the time that I wasted here. I feel like you can't feel the way I feel. I'll be fucked up if you can't be right here. If you can't be right, yeah. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. When I'm away from you, I miss your touch. You're the reason I believe in love. It's been difficult for me to trust, and I'm afraid that I'ma fuck it up. Ain't no way that I can leave you stranded, cause you ain't never left me empty-handed. And you know that I can't live without you. So baby, stay. I'd be fucked up if you can't be right here. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I need you to stay, need you to stay.
Only the best.
Looking right, looking like all the stars are faded. I remember the night I was so frustrated. I touch your hand for the first time. I see it on your face and another lifetime's flashing by. I'm here standing in the same dress. You're in your apartment. I'm already gone. When you left, I bet you held a body closer. And I was hoping you would tell her it was over. You're all I think about it everywhere I look. I know it's bad, but we could be so good. Couple years flashing by, and I'm doing okay. In the back of my mind, all I hear is your name. I bet you're happy and that's fine, but I regret just one thing. I never got to change your mind. I'm here standing in the same dress. You're in your apartment. I'm already gone. Talking wildly out of context. I wish things were different, but I'll never know. When you left, I bet you held a body closer. And I was hoping you would tell her it was over. You're all I think about it everywhere I look. I know it's bad, but we could be so good. Maria calls me and she says she's getting married. She asked me if there's any extra weight I carry. And do I think about the one that got away? I know his name. I think about him every day. When you left, I thought you held a body closer. I never knew that you would tell her it was over. 'Cause I know you think about it everywhere you look. I know it's bad, but we could be so good.
Only the best.
I'll smile, I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the night time. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. Keep my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time. Yeah. I put my arm around so you are strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries today. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Break down, only alone I will cry out now. You'll never see what's hiding out deep down. Yeah, I know I've heard that to let you feel unsure is the only way to make friendships grow, but I'm too afraid now. Yeah, I put my arm around so you are strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a pusher with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today.
Only the best.
Crowded places, shouting, searching for you, finding feelings. I wonder, how do you know? My love's so crazy, thoughts are shady. No play, don't let me go. Don't let time flow, let's stop and take control. I am now on my way, on my way. I am now on my way, on my way. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. Something about you makes me feel good. Come out with me and wander. Breathe in, fade out with me. Never forget moments we shared together. 'Cause now I know my love's so crazy, thoughts are shady. No play, don't let me go. Don't let time flow, let's stop and take control. I am now on my way, on my way. I am now on my way, on my way. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. My love's so crazy, thoughts are shady. No play, don't let me go. Don't let time flow, let's stop and take control. I am now on my way, on my way. I am now on my way, on my way. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya. On my way to love ya, my way to love ya.
Only the best.
I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around, since city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. one. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, but I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm just coming back to let you know I can never say it on the phone. I'll never let you go this time. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Hey, hey, I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch.
Only the best.
Fire for you, just let me adore you. Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights.
Rain on me.
Don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now.
This is your radio, your station. Only the best.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Shout out to your mom and dad for making you. Staying in a vision, they did a great job raising you. When I create, you're my muse. The kind of smile that makes the news. Can't nobody throw shade on your name in these streets. Triple threat, you a boss, you a bank, you a beast. You make it easy to choose. You got a mean touch, I can't refuse. No, I can't refuse it. Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Already passed, you don't need no approval. Good everywhere, don't worry about no refusal. Second to none, you got the upper hand now. Don't need a sponsor, no, you're the brand now. You're my rock, my Colorado. Got that ring, just like Toronto. Love you now, a little more tomorrow. That's how I feel. Act like you know that you are. Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions.
No cap, no pretending, you don't need mentions. Got them saying goals, they don't wanna be independent. Tell them to mind your business, we in our feelings. It's 50-50%. Attention, we need commitment. We gotta both admit it. It's funny, we both listen. It's a blessing, cause we both get it. You the best thing, and I don't need a witness. I'ma find me a ring and pray it's perfect fitted. Perfect.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. I will. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions.
Yeah, good morning. Another sign that you're getting really, really old is when you listen to a YouTube channel called Today's Hits Radio 1, Top Hits 2022. And like 1 out of 6 songs they play sounds decent to you. That's how you know you're getting old like me. How's everybody doing? Is everyone doing good? Everyone doing okay? Is everyone hanging in there? Let's get that off the screen. I don't even want to see the words live stream game. There we go. Just get that off the screen there. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Slim says, Lou, there's only the time of the season where conferences aren't expanding. Golden Dew Man's fired up. The off season is the only time people care about expansion. So Golden Dew Man might be the only college football YouTuber whose views go down during the season and up in the off season, because he's the expansion guru, and that's the kind of stuff people care about in the off season. Golden Dew Man. What's on tap for the morning show today? Nothing, really. I did see an update on Damar Hamlin this morning. It said he's in stable condition, which is better than critical condition. So I think the worst case scenarios that maybe some people were worried about last night aren't going to happen, at least. So that's great news. I don't know what kind of shape he is in or will be in overall, or if he'll ever play football again, or any of that stuff that really doesn't matter compared to what we thought might have been happening last night. So that's some good news compared to when I went to sleep last night anyway. Does this surprise anybody? Do these Keely Ringo stats surprise anybody? I have to admit they surprise me. And you know what? I also have to go back. Well, I'm going to go back and rewatch the game anyway. Marvin Harrison didn't have a single catch in the second or third quarter. I just want to put that out there. So I need everybody to back up off my man Keely Ringo. Can we keep in mind that Keely Ringo's about to win his second national title? Can we at least put the same amount of respect on Keely Ringo's name that we're going to put on Stetson Bennett's name? Shout out to my man Keely Ringo. Darnell Washington listed as questionable for the national title game. It's not a high ankle sprain, and it doesn't need surgery, but it is a soft tissue injury. My guess is that he's not going to play. And I mean, I hope he plays. I hope everybody plays for both teams. But my guess is that we're not going to see Darnell Washington. Now, Warren McClendon, I don't know enough about. I don't even really know what Warren McClendon's injury is. So I don't know about that. And I don't know about the 14 outside linebackers that are injured either. I hope Darnell can come back for the Natty. You know, he's from out west. It would be nice for him. I don't know his family situation and, like, how many games his family has been able to come to, or, like, maybe some of his high school friends or something. But it would be much easier for his family and friends to attend a game in Los Angeles than it would be in Athens or anywhere in the SEC. It would be nice, you know, if Darnell could play out there. Now, maybe he'll get maybe he'll get drafted by a West Coast NFL team, but because he's definitely playing in the NFL. But I don't know. I love watching Darnell Washington play. I'm going to be sad if the SEC championship game ends up being basically the last time we saw him play, because he got hurt so early in this game, or in the Ohio State game. You might be waiting on an update. I just gave you one. I don't know if you're not listening or not, but he's in stable condition. He's not listed in critical condition anymore. Darnell has been amazing, being such an undersized tight end. Yeah. A real underdog story there with Darnell Washington. Looks like at T5 kept his word, said he would quit YouTube if UGA won. Well, that's what most people do, honestly. Most people quit YouTube when their team loses. You don't ever see them again. Pine Saw Lemon Scent. What's up, buddy? Brandon Pratt, thank you for hitting the super chat this morning. He says the Big Ten lost more semifinal games Saturday than the SEC has lost the entire time the college football playoff has existed. Also, prayers for DeMar Hamlin. How many semifinal games has the SEC lost? Georgia's never lost one. Has Alabama ever lost a first-round game? LSU's never lost a first-round game. Well, who's gotten in from the SEC? Georgia, Bama, LSU? Is that the only SEC teams to get in? I know Georgia's never lost a semifinal. LSU only made the playoffs once, and they didn't lose a semifinal. Bama lost to Ohio State in 2014. So, okay. So is that the only semifinal game an SEC team ever lost? Just that one? Okay. Wow. I knew the overall playoff record which is like 15-5 now or something like that. That of course includes national title games and semifinal games, but I didn't realize the semifinal stat there. Yeah, that is a good line to use. The Big Ten lost more playoff games on Saturday than the SEC has in the history of the world. That's a great stat to use against the Big Ten, man. What's up, Vic Tube? What's up, Vic Tube? Oh, I forgot to update the, let me update the thing on the bottom here. you go. That way I don't have to address this anymore. People can just read for themselves. Almost time to talk about nothing for 8 months, says Pete. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually looking forward to talking about nothing for about a month or so after the season ends. That'll be fun. Then I'll be missing college football again. But I think right now I'm just so worn down right now. I need about a day or so. Then I can turn it back on and get fired up for the final 5 or 6 day run up to the national title game. But I'm in desperate need of a if I had a regular 9 to 5 office job, this would be one of those deals where the person calls in to take a mental health day. If I had a regular 9 to 5 and I felt like I felt right now, that would be what I would do. I would call in and take one of those mental health days. Oh man. Lou, where do you see your channel in 2 to 5 years? I'd like to be at 100,000 subscribers in a couple of years. Honestly. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, subscribers are important because it's an easy way to track the growth of your channel, but it's not really, I mean, it doesn't technically mean anything at all. The number of subscribers you have doesn't really have anything at all to do with, how much money you make or how many people watch your video. I mean, if I go to the stats on my videos now, it's something like less than half my views come from subscribers anyway. It's just people who happen to see the video. But as long as my channel continues to, when you do YouTube for a living, you have to think about it in terms of like any other business you would run. And as long as I'm doing a little bit better this year than I did last year, then I'm okay with that. Some years maybe I do a lot better than I did last year, but as long as things are steadily heading in the right direction year over year, I'm not going to complain. I'm fine. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right, let's see. Let's look at all of 2022. I had 48% more views in 2022 than I had in 2021. So back to the question about subscribers. It's easy to look at the subscribers because it's a number that kind of sticks in your head. You can stop me on the street at random and say, Lou, how many subscribers do you have? And I'll be able to give you a general idea. Oh, I don't know, about 57,000. If you stop me on the street and say, how many views do you have this year? I'd have no idea. Or how many more views do you have this year than last year? I don't know. So the subscriber count is just something that's a lot easier to keep track of. And it is a general indication of whether your channel is growing or not. It's a general indication of that. But there are more important indications than that. So my views in 2022 were up 48% over 2021. Now let's look at something else. Yeah, that looks about, well, it's not going to tell me. I gained 11.6. So if I change that to 2021, I gained 9,000 subscribers in 2021. So these are the types of things I usually look at, like year over year or even month over month. Like, because this is a college football channel, the obviously all of these numbers that I'm looking at here, like if I were to look at these things on like a month to month basis, they're going to be totally different in September, October, and November than they are in April, May, and June. So looking year over year like I'm doing now is one way to look at it, or I'll look at like September of 2022 versus September of 2021. Like the fact that I get more views in September than I did in August, that doesn't really mean anything, because of course you're going to get more views in September than you got in August. In September there are football games, in August there aren't. So you have to compare the same month from one year to the previous year. You know, how did I do this September compared to last September? Well, if I got more views, gained more subscribers, all that stuff this September than I did last September, then to me that's an indication that things are still headed in the right direction. And all of those numbers look good. YouTube ad revenue, I made 29% more in YouTube ad revenue in 2022 than I did in 2021. Did I cut out, or did y'all hear me the whole time? Because my YouTube, went out and then came back on. So I don't even know if y'all heard all that I just said or not. You heard me? Okay. Sometimes I can't tell if it's if it's my stream going down or if it's just my YouTube resetting. Okay, yeah, that was the last thing I said before I thought something was wrong. Yeah, 29% increase in 2022 compared to 2021, which is great because that pretty much evens out inflation. So hey, in other words, I pretty much broke even in 2022. So that's great. That's amazing. Anyway, what else is going on? Tulane. What a game that was yesterday. The Cotton Bowl. I knew when they got that safety, I said, they're going to go down here and score this damn touchdown. And they sure did. They almost got a safety on the play before they actually got the safety. You know? That Southern Cal kick returner. Wouldn't you hate to be him? You remember Utah scored, and that still put them down like, I don't know, 8 points. They were still down 8 or something like that. And they kicked off. The Southern Cal return man tried to catch the ball at the 1 yard line, and he fumbled it out of bounds at the 1 yard line. So Southern Cal got the ball first and 10 at their own 1. They ran a play up the middle, barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Lucky it wasn't a safety on that play. And then on the second play, they ran basically the same play, but they ran it from shotgun. Had Caleb Williams in a shotgun, so standing 4 or 5 yards deep in his own end zone. These teams are addicted to shotgun anymore. I wonder if teams even practice the center quarterback exchange under snap anymore. They must not, and that's why they do the shotgun deal. I saw a team, I can't remember which team this was. Maybe somebody else saw it. When there's, at the end of a game, when a team has the ball and they're winning and all they need to do is take a knee. Victory formation, they call it, and the quarterback will go up under center, get the snap, take a knee, game over. I saw a team yesterday, it was either yesterday or the day before, do that in a shotgun. They had victory formation in a shotgun. I don't even think these teams practice quarterback center exchange with the quarterback under center anymore. They literally had victory formation in a shotgun. But yeah, Caleb Williams was lined up 4 or 5 yards deep in his own end zone, shotgun, snap, hand the ball to the running back, and he basically was tackled before he even got the ball, safety. And I knew right then, I said, Utah's going to get this kickoff now, because, when you get a safety, you also get the ball back. I said, Utah's going to go right down this field and score. These Lincoln Riley defenses, man, and Southern Cal fans are still, they don't, they think everyone's wrong, and, and it's going to get fixed and turned around. It's not. It's not. Tulane, yeah, what'd I say? Oh, Utah? Yeah, I meant Tulane. But these Lincoln Riley defenses, man, they're not getting any better. Oh, I'm way past half asleep. I'm like 75% asleep. I'm just not going to lie. I am beat down today. How long you think before one of the big schools swipe TCU's coach? Good question. I mean, if I'm a Southern Cal fan and we got Lincoln Riley, I'm excited because we've been so bad. So I'm like, okay, we're getting Lincoln Riley. That's good. I know the offense will get better, and maybe he's learned his lesson, like defensively. Well, then the first thing Lincoln Riley does is bring the same defensive coordinator he had at Oklahoma with him to Southern Cal. That's strike one. Then the season starts, and I tried warning people during the season, but Southern Cal's defensive numbers during the season were way better than the numbers made the defense look better than it really was because of how freakishly good they were in turnover margin. And turnover margin is not a repeatable stat. Because there is some luck over the course of a season, there is some luck and the ball bouncing your way type of thing that goes into turnover margin. And Southern Cal's turnover margin was like 40% better than the second place team on that list. And that's not repeatable. And when you're creating an average of 2 to 3 turnovers a game, and you're not turning the ball over at all, ever, your defensive numbers are going to be better than what your defense actually is. So what happened when they got to the Pac-12 title game and then yesterday against Tulane, and it doesn't work out that way? You see the real Southern Cal defense, which can't tackle, is out of position, is bad fundamentally, is not very talented. It's literally the exact same things and issues we saw at Oklahoma for 4 or 5 years under Lincoln Riley. The exact same thing. South Carolina had 2 games with 2 pick sixes. Well, I know they had 2 pick sixes against Notre Dame. I don't know off the top of my head if they had another game with 2 pick sixes. But was it TCU had 2 pick sixes too, didn't they? Or is that a different game I'm thinking about? There was another game the other day where a team had 2 pick sixes. Was it TCU? I'm thinking it was TCU. I'll have to go back and look. Oh, Sir UJ says, yeah, it was TCU. Yeah, okay. Oh, remember last night on the Lunch Money we did those 2 polls? I forgot to end the second poll before the show ended, so I ended it right after the show ended. It was literally exactly 50-50. So the first poll we did was just, who do you think's going to win, Georgia or TCU? And it was like 80% Georgia, which makes sense. They're a 13.5-point favorite. But then we did a second poll. Do you think Georgia can cover the spread of 13.5? It was exactly 50-50. It was exactly 50-50. Oh, come on. No, South Carolina had 2 pick sixes, not 1. Schultz, 31. Iowa had 2 against Kentucky. Okay. Oh, that's right. I did know that. Yeah, Iowa scored 21 points. 14 of them were pick 6 points, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I still think South Carolina had a good season overall, but with the Notre Dame game specifically, yeah, they lost by 1 score, but they were up 21-7 in the first quarter. Obviously, let that lead get away. They scored 38 points, yes, but 14 of those points were pick sixes. So, really, offensively, they scored 24. And in today's college football, you're just not going to win very many games scoring 24 points on offense. I mean, if you scored 24 points in every game you played, you're likely to have a losing record in today's college football, So pick sixes are no good. Biscuit says, I saw this stat this morning. Very interesting. Pac-12 this year sucks. Is that an official stat? Yeah, the Pac-12 doesn't suck this year. So wherever you saw that stat at, they're wrong. Is the New Year's song going on the Sunbelt Billy album? Should I release that as a single? No, the Pac-12 doesn't suck. Biscuit Vandy better than Gators, Utah, Trojan, man? There's nothing out of conference they did. The Pac-12 doesn't suck. I don't care how many times you say it. That's not going to make it true. Rattler played well at first, but laid down in the third quarter. I don't know what the best win out of conference is for the Pac-12. I'd have to look it up, but the Pac-12 didn't suck this year. They have more top 25 teams than the SEC, don't they? How many top 25 teams are in the Pac-12? Let's see. Utah, Southern Cal, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Washington. That's 6. Let's see. Where's the rankings at? Anybody that says the Pac-12, you probably didn't watch any Pac-12 games. Maybe you watched a couple of bowl games. I don't know. I tried all year to get people to watch the Pac-12. They just wouldn't listen for whatever reason. Let's see. Georgia, in the final playoff rankings, Georgia had the SEC had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams ranked. The Pac-12 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams ranked. Yeah, anybody that says the Pac-12 sucks this year is just football ignorant, or they didn't watch any Pac-12. I watched a bunch of games from the Pac-12. It was the first time I've enjoyed it in a while. Yeah, there were great games every week, too. Every week. Utah USC round 1 was one of the best games all year. Oh, yeah, that was the game where Utah scored late and went for 2 to win it instead of kicking the extra point for overtime. Yeah, that was a great game. Yeah, you're just ignorant. Man, I hope Slimy Hot Boy calls in, but I know he won't, says Cody. I have faith that he will call in. Should I put it? I might even put his name in the title of the video. Who's better, Biscuit, the Pac-12 or the ACC? Who's better, the Pac-12 or the Big Ten? Fake news. Pac-12 has 3 ranked teams. And 2 of them lost their bowl game. Pac-12 might be the second best conference this year. It's either the Pac-12 or the Big 12. ACC is the worst. ACC 5, Big 10 4. You can argue over Pac-12, Big 12 for 2. Pac-12 is probably better than the Big 12, actually. I'd probably put Pac-12 at 2. Big 10 was Ohio State and Michigan, with Penn State barely hanging on. Yeah, I mean, I do think Penn State was a good team. They weren't very competitive against Ohio State and Michigan in the end, but I do think they're a legitimate top 25 team. But after Penn State, the drop-off is just, I mean, it's like it's falling off of a cliff after that. There's not a single team in the Big Ten West that's even ranked. The best team in the Big Ten West got destroyed, lost by 70 yesterday to LSU. Oh, yeah. Statistically, the Big Ten West was worse than the Sun Belt Conference. There's no doubt about it. It was horrible. The Big Ten West reminded me of the year that, was it 3 years ago when Pittsburgh, I think it was, made the ACC title game at 6-6 or something like that. The Big Ten West was like that this year. It was just really bad. Fickle about to run the Big Ten West like they owe him money. Yeah, I think so too. At least this coming year. I was at the Peach Bowl, and I swear every time I went to the restroom, I didn't see a single Ohio State fan wash their hands. Nasty Midwesterners. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, with 2 weeks to go, there were 4 teams still in it, and they all had at least 4 losses. I was 8 years old the last time the Big 12 won a natty. Damn. 2005, right? Texas in 2005. Was it 2005, the Vince Young year? I think it was. Wasn't it The Pac-12 hadn't won one since the year before that, right? 2004, Southern Cal. Yeah, Joseph. Whenever Northwestern and Nebraska had opportunities to win a division, you know it's bad, yeah. No, I'm not starting. No, I'm not starting no new. I'm watching Game of Thrones right now again. I'm not gonna start anything else until I finish that. I didn't watch anything last night. I ended the Lunch Money show and went to bed. Damn, Biscuit, you're older than I am. I'm gonna go into my YouTube settings and block the word Yellowstone. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go into my YouTube settings and block the word Yellowstone. Hey, man. You have 60 days to get that trophy engraved. You've wasted 362 days. Now you've only got, or you wasted 302, 200, you wasted a lot of days. You wasted 300 days. I'm a Gator fan, but I love you, Lou. Thank you, Blanco. What's up, Juice? He's hiding because he's mad. Georgia's about to win another natty. You know why Florida fans are really mad? It's got less to do with the fact that we're about to win a natty. I mean, obviously they're mad that we're about to win a natty. But we're about to do something again that they haven't done in 130 years. They've never done it. Never. Not a single time. Georgia's about to have another perfect season. Something Florida's never done. 130 years of football, 0 perfect seasons. It's sad, really, if you think about it. You'd think they'd get lucky once out of 130 years and have a perfect season, but it's never happened. How about the national champions play the worst of the NFL? Why? So they can get beat by 40? Because that's what would happen. Yeah, Kirby's about to have more natties than Steve Spurrier. Nobody talking about regular seasons, do man. You should see his record versus top 10. Whose record? Bears, Cubs, Canes. What's up, sir? Being a Gator fan ain't too bad. There are fans out here that hadn't seen their team play a national title. I've witnessed two. Oh, Kirby. Yeah, Kirby's record against top 10 is amazing. Chances Carson Beck winning the Heisman next year. The chances, I mean, the chances of any single player winning the Heisman next year right now are extremely low. And the chances that Caleb Williams wins the Heisman next year is how much? And he just won it. So what's the chances Caleb Williams win the Heisman next year? 40%? Okay, Carson Beck's got a 1%. I mean, the guy's never started a game. You want to know his Heisman chances? Max Duggan should have won the Heisman, says Biscuit Man. Best backup this year. Max Duggan was the best backup this year, so that's fake news. Yeah, what are the chances of me winning the lottery tonight? Yeah, well. If that's the comparison, then Carson Beck has good chance of winning Heisman, if compared to your chances of winning the lottery. But how often does a player win multiple Heismans? I'm not sure about the stat on that. I know only one player's ever won back-to-back Heismans. That was Archie Griffin for Ohio State in the 70s. Yes, there you go, Kirby's belt. Lottery chances are as good as me winning the Heisman. Yeah, there you go. Would the Falcons or Georgia win? The Falcons would beat Georgia by 40. I just looked it up. The Falcons have 53 NFL players on their team. Georgia's starting 22 has how many NFL players? Maybe 15. Probably not even that many. It would be a one-score game. No, it wouldn't. Drake London would fuck up Ringo. You sure? Sure about that? Chances TCU pulls the upset, 10%. What does FPI say? I don't care about the FPI, but since you asked, let's look and see. The FPI says they have a 27% chance. So if you're a believer in the FPI, there you go. 27% chance. Lou, I said this the other day, but didn't know if you saw it. My friend's dad lives in Ohio. His van died. He got mad and tried to bury it in his front yard. So there's a half-buried van in Ohio. I'd love to see a picture of that. No, I probably won't have much fun trash talking TCU because there's, like you said, there's not that many people to make mad. I mean, what are you going to do? 5 minutes making fun of their mascot, 5 minutes making fun of the fact that they're a Christian academy. Well, I mean, what do you even do after that? I mean, I could make fun of Texas for 20 minutes. That might be what I do. I might just make fun of the state of Texas. This is a Christian nation. Well, no, this nation doesn't have an official religion. Specifically and on purpose, this nation doesn't have a national religion. Do you think Harbaugh will leave Michigan for the NFL? I would put the chances of that well under 50%, but there is a chance. Because, you know, he always has that in the back of his mind. I just feel like Michigan is set up to have another good year next year. The quarterback's coming back. They got a lot of pieces coming back. The Big Ten is not very good overall right now. They get Ohio State at home. I mean, Michigan's probably going to be in a lot of people's pick to make the playoffs again next year when we start getting into the offseason and talking about predictions for next year and stuff. I have a feeling Michigan's going to be high on a lot of people's list. I don't remember any Buddhist founding fathers. Well, do you remember when? Do you remember? Do you remember when people first came here from Europe and why they came here? Those are the people that became the founding fathers. So, do you remember? Do you know why they came here? Because England had a national religion. That's why they came here. That's why they left England. Reach into your back pocket and pull out that pocket constitution that you pretend to carry around. And read it. There's no national, there will never be a national religion here. No, they came here because they were fleeing religious persecution. Catholics versus Protestants. They were Christians running away from a Christian nation that had a national religion. And they didn't like it. So they came here and founded a country without a national religion. I mean, I don't care that the founding fathers were Christian. That's fine with me. Or if they were anything else, that's fine with me too. I don't care if we have politicians that are Christian or non-Christian or any other religion. It doesn't matter to me too, as long as they don't try to pass laws based off of their religion. And I don't have any problem with it. It doesn't matter to me who anybody worships. As long as they don't pass that off on me. Yeah, Nick just hit the nail on the head. Christians can't even agree amongst themselves what the Bible means. So the idea that we should have some group of Christians running the country based off of the Bible is ridiculous. Whose interpretation of the Bible? The Baptist interpretation, the Protestant, the Presbyterian, the Catholic, the Methodist, the Mormon? Who? I mean, if Christians can't even agree amongst themselves what the Bible means, then we really don't need to get into a situation where we're passing laws based off that Bible. There's a word for that. There's a phrase for that. It's called Sharia law. A horned frog is a lizard. It's not even a frog. I mean, there is such thing as a horned frog, but they live in South America. The ones that live in Texas, like the TCU mascot, is actually a lizard. Or as someone pointed out yesterday, Bowser from Super Mario. Yeah, it is Super Frog, yeah. But they call it Super Frog, but it's a lizard. It's weird. As kids, we used to catch them. We called them horny toads. There are no horned frogs in the United States. Unless you see one in a zoo or something. Some kind of reptile exhibit or amphibian exhibit. There are no horned frogs in the wild in the United States. There are horned lizards in Texas. Horned frogs are in South America. They are almost extinct. Well, they'll be extinct come midnight Monday. Yeah, we did a whole 20 minutes on this yesterday. There's a 20-minute video on my channel, on my main channel from yesterday that I recorded from the morning show where we go through everything about the TCU mascot. That's right, Vic. The TCU mascot is anatomically correct. Anatomically accurate. Yep. Do you think Max Duggan will have a night on Georgia secondary like Stroud did? No. No. Quentin Johnston is really, really good. So I think it was the Lunch Bunny show last night. We talked about this, but so just for the sake of argument, let's say that Quentin Johnston is as good as Ohio State's best receiver, whoever you think that is. Now, I don't think that's true, but for the sake of argument, let's just stipulate that. Let's say Quentin Johnston, which is TCU's best wide receiver, is as good as Ohio State's best wide receiver. Well, Ohio State's number 2 is so far better than TCU's number 2, it's not even funny. And Ohio State's number 3 is better than TCU's number 2. So Quentin Johnston is really good, but he's one guy. It's not an overall wide receiver group like Ohio State's is. So I don't. Now Max Duggan is more of an issue with his legs, I think, than C.J. Stroud would be. But as far as the passing numbers or 3 receivers running wide open 20 yards downfield on every single play, no, that's not going to happen for TCU. Zach Evans wishing he stayed at TCU. I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand. College football players are not fans. They don't. A 5-star running back like Zach Evans, any 5-star player, they're not picking where they go based on which team they root for. So this idea that such and such is mad because he's at a team that didn't win a national title, you're a fan. Right? These players aren't fans. These players are going where they think they'll have the best chance to get into the NFL, period. Has nothing to do. Zach Evans had an amazing year at Ole Miss. He's headed to the NFL eventually. So he doesn't have any regrets about anything. I promise. I mean, you think Brock Vandergriff should sit the bench at UGA for 5 years so he can collect national title rings, or should he go somewhere where he can play and potentially get a shot at the NFL? I mean, these players aren't fans like we are. Stetson Bennett is a huge Georgia fan. Yeah, and he was a 3-star walk-on that nobody wanted. I'm talking about these 5-star athletes that come out of high school with the goal being to make the NFL. They're not fans. XFL coming back. I have no idea about any of those other leagues. Are any of those other leagues coming back? Jermaine Burton had more touchdowns and more yards receiving this year at Alabama than he ever had at Georgia. He doesn't have a single regret. XFL signed a TV deal, so I guess it is coming back. Imagine Georgia as Georgia. Not sure what that means. Who gives a fiddler's damn about Jay Burton? Well, whoever just commented about him, I'm assuming gives a fiddler's damn. Where does Stetson Bennett fall on the all-time UJ QB list if they repeat? Well, he'll be the best college quarterback Georgia ever had. Right now, he's tied with Buck Bellew. Keely Ringo's the best defensive back we've ever had. Dejon Edwards is going to be the best running back we ever had. Ladd McConkey's better than A.J. Green. Kamari Lassiter's better than Champ Bailey. No. Well, Herschel's the best running back we've ever had right now. But if we win the national title this year, then Dejon Edwards and Kenny McIntosh become better than Herschel Walker because Herschel Walker only has one natty. That's how simple it is to figure out who the best player is. Lou, as a college football fan, would you be mad if TCU won it all? That would be a great story. Well, as a Georgia fan, I'd be mad. If I wasn't a Georgia fan, I would be pulling for TCU. Like if Georgia wasn't in the national title game and it was anybody else, I'd be pulling for TCU because of the underdog story. Ringo isn't better than DeAndre Baker. Yeah, he is because Ringo has a ring and DeAndre Baker doesn't. What was that football league that had the half-clothed cheerleaders? The lingerie league? Yeah, the only people that aren't pulling for TCU is Georgia fans and the most diehard of SEC homers. I can't believe college football is pretty much over. The part of college football where we play games is pretty much over. What's up, Kevin? That's like saying Edgerrin James, Reggie Wayne, and Santana Moss aren't some of the best because they didn't win a natty. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I agree with you, Slim. It's just when people say if we win another natty, is Stetson the blah blah blah? You're boiling it down to natties when you make those kind of comments, and so it's hard to understand how ridiculous of a statement that is, unless you. So that's when I have to start saying things like, "Yeah, that means Kamari Lassiter is better than Champ Bailey." Then because that's the only way to make people understand how ridiculous it is. If you want to make the argument that Stetson Bennett is the greatest quarterback of all time, or the greatest Georgia quarterback, or whatever, you can make that argument. But if the only point you're making is that, well, if he wins the 2 national titles, he's the best quarterback we've ever had, well, then Kamari Lassiter is better than Champ Bailey and Ladd McConkey's better than A.J. Green. So there's got to be more to the argument than if Georgia wins 2 natties, then Stetson's the greatest ever. Well, Tom Brady was not a great quarterback in college by really any measurement. He was great in the NFL. We're talking about college players. I mean, Tim Tebow sucked in the NFL. Doesn't mean he wasn't great at Florida. This is why nobody talks about Tom Brady as the greatest college quarterback of all time. Senior year, completed 60% of his passes with 16 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Threw for 2,200 yards. Junior year, 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 60% completion. Those were the only 2 years he started. Brady's success came in the NFL, not in college. No, Brady was at Michigan in 97, but he wasn't the starting quarterback. He was a sophomore, but he wasn't the starter. He only played in 4 games. He only threw 15 passes in 1997. He played backup role, fourth quarter crap. Carson Beck's the number 2 right now. So, I mean, you know, there's other quarterbacks, other talented quarterbacks on the roster, but Carson Beck's the number 2. So we'll see what happens, you know, during spring practice and stuff. But it's widely, Carson Beck is widely considered to be the starter for next year right now, unless something happens to change that, like spring practice or an injury or a transfer or whatever. I know Victor. Yes. Oh yeah. ESPN was showing Peyton Manning the other day, and in the headline underneath it said 1998 national champion QB at Tennessee. That's a good point. Beck's from Florida. Jackson Muschamp's from South Georgia. Did Sea-Dog really change his channel name to Sea Frog? He's trying way too hard. Yeah. Is this him crying about the game?
I just thought I'd freaking talk about this game that I'd seen tonight, dude. Oh my god, the Ohio State Georgia game. Okay, we had it was a great day. Usually playoff games are blowouts, and every single both playoff games this year were great. And they were close games and everything, and like I would love to be able to enjoy that fact, but the fact that Georgia's in here and the fact that they freaking won, it just really puts a sour taste in my mouth and kind of ruins, what would be an exciting game. And I freaking can't believe that this sorry punk ass Bulldogs freaking came back and beat Ohio State, dude. And it's just that was just the worst shit I've ever seen, man. Freaking Ohio State, dude. I did everything that they could to win, man, and just had it stacked against them. And look, Ohio State man, I got all the respect in the world for you. Freaking CJ Stroud, he played like a Heisman candidate, unlike some other quarterbacks that played in that game. Okay? Ohio State did everything they could. They're freaking in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which you have Georgia playing them there for 3 times this year. They've had however many home games they have, 6 home games or whatever, plus the 3 times they've played in the freaking Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the home state. Okay, it's just bullshit. Freaking come out here and play in their home state, and then when they go on the road, they suck. Like at Missouri, they couldn't go on the road and take care of a freaking 6-6 awful, god awful Missouri team. They got to freaking play in their home state and and get this home field advantage. They're nothing without it. They're nothing with it, to be honest. They're just a sorry freaking pitiful team that got bailed out tonight by the refs, and yes, again, by a wide receiver getting hurt. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And you Georgia fans, stay the hell out of my comment section. You guys are so pitiful and just unbelievable. The way that I had nobody except for Ohio State and Georgia Tech fans in my stream the entire game. And they freaking come out of the woodwork at the end when they're winning, dude. It is just the most egregious, and like they disappear. I don't want to hear it from any of you. Because when Georgia is losing, you're gone. You're gone. You're all a bunch of fake freaking bandwagon fans that freaking poof like the wind whenever you lose, whenever your sorry punk ass team gets what they deserve and loses. So don't freaking come and give me shit about this. I cannot believe the gall of you people to try to show up and talk shit to me now. Come leave comments when you were not there the entire stream. You weren't there the whole time. And at the freaking end, there's 100 people in my live stream, and you freaking all of a sudden show up and want to make fun of C-Dog. It doesn't work like that. Okay? I'm here no matter what, and you freaking people get to disappear. So, to all of your dumbass comments that you're going to leave about your freaking Bulldogs, I don't want to freaking hear. I'm not going to respond to you. I don't respect you, and I don't want to hear from it.
It was a minute or two ago, but he was complaining about the number of games that Georgia got to play in Atlanta. You know, there was the Oregon game at the beginning of the season, the SEC championship game, and now the playoff game. That's 3 games Georgia played in Atlanta. Well, Georgia won all 3 of those, right? Georgia Tech's home field is in Atlanta. Georgia won more games in Atlanta this season than Georgia Tech did. Georgia Tech only won 2 games in Atlanta. So I just want to point that out to this clown.
Okay? The better team did not win tonight. Okay? Ohio State freaking did everything they could. Clearly the much better team, much better quarterback, better offense, just a better team overall. And the amount of egregious things that happened. You're telling me that wasn't targeting on Marvin Harrison Jr.? I've sat here and watched since they've introduced this targeting rule. I sat here and watched them freaking kick dudes out of the game where their body couldn't control themselves like at all. And you know, the person with the ball carrier like ducks their head down and you know, runs into and it's just by happenstance. I've seen players, Charlie Thomas, I've seen players like that get ejected from games. Not you know, not trying to hurt anybody, but just by happenstance that their body, you know, their momentum took them and it happened to be targeting. I sat here and watched freaking players for years get thrown out for that. And you're going to tell me that Georgia player that come and took the freaking receiver's hat off It wasn't targeting? You're going to tell me Brock Bowers got the freaking first down out of bounds? Or that Kirby Smart called the timeout on that fourth down freaking, and the refs blew the play they blew the whistle after the play had started, after they clearly got the first down? Are you kidding me? Every single key moment in the game went towards Georgia's way. And they had yet again, a wide receiver. Just like Alabama last year. When Alabama lost just one of their wide receivers and was still whooping the shit out of Georgia. And then they lose their second one during the game. And that's the only reason Georgia won last year. And it's the only reason Georgia won this year. Because they got away with taking the freaking head off of this poor receiver and just clocked him out and freaking gave him a concussion.
Just a reminder that Marvin Harrison had 0 catches in the second quarter and third quarter combined. But, yeah, that's why we lost. Or that's why Ohio State lost. Yeah, okay. Because Marvin Harrison had 0 catches in the second quarter and third quarter before he was hurt.
I mean, all these targeting calls I've seen, and that was a no call. Unbelievable, dude. And that was the difference. That was the difference. That Brock Bowers freaking first down that they scored on, that was the difference. The freaking conversion on fourth down was the difference. And especially that touchdown.
Ohio State had 12 men on the field on that fourth down conversion, so it would have been a penalty even if Kirby didn't call a timeout.
Down that Ohio State would have got if it would have been targeting. So freaking bailed out by the refs and bailed out, and again, by a wide receiver getting hurt. Sorry, punk-ass, pitiful Bulldogs. Their offensive and defensive lines overrated. I don't want to freaking hear about anything. But laughed at Ohio State for being soft and got pushed around all night by them. Laughed at Ohio State.
Ohio State running backs averaged 2 yards per carry.
For being soft and getting pushed around by Michigan. Well, look what happened to you. The same damn.
This is what happens when instead of knowing things about football, all you do is just hate Georgia.
Thing. Get pushed around. Ohio State gets pushed around by Michigan. You get freaking pushed around by them. What does that make you? Soft. And you couldn't do it in the Georgia Tech game either. In the Georgia Tech game, they needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Against our offensive line.
That's the first accurate thing he said in this video. Let's hear that again.
Against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech.
In fact, I need to do something real quick.
That game either. In the Georgia Tech game, they needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor.
Hold on. All right, here we go.
That game either. In the Georgia Tech game, they needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Against our offensive line.
There we go.
Or defensive line. And they couldn't get a single yard on us. They had to freaking send Brock Bowers out in the freaking and throw a cute little pass to him because they can't get a yard on nobody. Not even Georgia Tech. They're just pitiful, man. They don't belong in the national championship. They don't belong, dude. And Stetson Bennett, the worst quarterback ever. The worst freaking quarterback ever. And he's sitting here. People pretend like Stetson Bennett is some kind of amazing underdog story. He's a walk-on. He's such an inspiring story. He's a douchebag. He is full of his. Have you ever listened to him talk? He is full of it. He's full of himself. And he's just. He's just a punk, dude. He's a freaking 25-year-old player running around surrounded by talent, and that's why he wins. He's not a good quarterback. He's like 5'3", and he should not have been in the Heisman ceremony. He's a joker and a clown. And he sucks, and you guys won the game not because of Stetson Bennett, but despite Stetson Bennett. Despite it. For the past however long he's been the starter, for the past couple seasons. You won the game despite Stetson Bennett. And guess what? When Stetson Bennett leaves, it's going to be Carson Beck, and he's terrible too. Stetson Bennett. God dang, dude.
Man, emotionally, that kid's just been destroyed. Emotionally, you know.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
What did he say? C.J. Stroud played amazing. Stetson Bennett played terrible. Let's check the instant replay. C.J. Stroud, 23 of 34. Stetson Bennett, 23 of 34. C.J. Stroud, 348 yards. Stetson Bennett, 398 yards.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Five-star dummy.
All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here for today. I appreciate y'all hanging out on the morning show. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back live tonight at 9 o'clock for the call-in show, which should be a good one. I'm hoping to hear from some Ohio State fans. Hopefully they haven't all disappeared, and they'll call in. Especially Slimy Hot Boy. All right, everybody. Happy New Year once again. May your 2023 be better than your 2022. And I will see you all tonight at 9 o'clock. Have a good morning.
Needed 1 yard. They needed 1 yard against the piss poor freaking pitiful little Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
5-star dummy.